Sup fellow nerds, it is good to see you. Hope you had a lovely festive break and you enjoyed what we're going to talk about in a moment. But in case you haven't noticed, things look a little bit different today, and that's because you're on the opposite side of my office. Usually the camera is parked up over there next to the Doom helmet, but I like to be quite open and clear with you. I had this from my old job where they very much weren't, and if you listen to Escaping Castebris, which you totally should, I'm one to be more open with you if things are slightly different, and that's why I'm going to be open with you now before we get into the review, and that's because, honestly, I almost didn't do this review at all. The beauty about Doctor Who, about the fact that it airs on a Saturday again, or it has for the 60th, thank God, is I could roll into Sunday, I could get the script written on the Saturday night, I could record it Saturday night, and edit it and get it out on Sunday. That's great. The fact that Chibnall did his episodes on a Sunday really bothered me when I was working at What Culture. Didn't have that issue because I could go into work and do it. When I wasn't at What Culture, I couldn't do that. I had to wait till I got home from work to edit the videos anyway. Obviously, being Christmas, I was at home with my family. Boxing Day, I was with my in-laws. So it's been, traveling about, lots of stuff. And I didn't, write a review after the episode aired. I could have disappeared and gone and just pied off my family, but I wasn't going to do that. And yesterday I needed, as I put on Twitter, I just needed a day to socially recharge, and I was quite unwell on Boxing Day, unfortunately, so I needed to have that moment, that day, to get things back on track. And when it came to today, right, we can get the video written, get it sorted, get it done, get it out, and I was sat here looking at my script. I got 3 paragraphs in and thought, I have no motivation to do this right now. Not the position I want to be in. So this video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more like the one for The Power of the Doctor, where I've just got some bullet points, we're just going to rattle through some stuff and see if I can get something cohesive out, so I actually get something out, because I don't want to leave you hanging. I shouldn't do that to myself, I shouldn't do that to my YouTube channel, but I kind of wish I could have just rolled into writing a script on Christmas Day. But that wasn't very feasible. Hopefully, come series 14, normality will resume. But anyway, let's kick things off by talking about the title sequence again. Now, I made this abundantly clear back in my review of The Star Beast that I don't particularly like this title sequence. I think it needs a bit more time in the rendering oven. I think it just looks a little bit wonky. There are some specific things that we'll get to. Obviously, I mentioned before, the logo has no motion blur on it and no lighting. It just looks really crap. I've seen people on YouTube who have done versions of this title sequence with like a better logo animation, and it's like, come on, BBC, or whoever did this title sequence, please just do something new, please for the series 14. Let's move on. But the thing that really got to me the most is the fact that when the TARDIS, obviously, when it reveals the 2 names of Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson, the TARDIS kind of flies downwards from behind the camera, downwards into the shot, and the G of Gibson moves out of the way. But prior to it, the G is misaligned. Look, why is this so... Like, it was given such little time. Like, you look at the CGI of this, they've got the Disney money behind them now. You look at how immense the TARDIS set is and everything like that. This feels so ludicrously out of place to look this bad. Anyway, enough waffling about that. First of all, I want to talk about Ruby Sunday, because she's the first person we kind of come to in this episode, obviously chatting to Davina McCall, who for some reason feels a little bit wooden. Maybe that's just me. But Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday, the thing that I got from her in this episode, because I haven't seen Millie Gibson before in anything, there is this wonderful, natural vibe to everything Ruby Sunday does. At no point did it feel like she was actually kind of delivering lines. Even when she was talking to Davina right at the start, it felt like it was Davina interviewing Millie Gibson, not Ruby Sunday, and that's not commenting on her acting ability. She felt so real, she felt so natural, which I thought was really, really good. So she's out there having lots and lots of bad luck, all instituted by these little goblins, obviously. But we also then see the Doctor, the 15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, no longer in his pants, unfortunately, out here just slaying outfit after outfit after outfit. I mean, it's not often you get costume changes in Doctor Who, but look at Ncuti go. He's like, okay, now I'm in the club, now I'm seeing her at a concert that she's doing, and now he's, out and about, spotting her in a taxi, and he's got his leather jacket on, and it's like, dude, Yas Queen slay, etc. So we already had a really good vibe of what 15 would be like based on the 60th, and I'm already just completely in love with the 15th Doctor. Going forwards, I'm super excited to see the new stuff he's going to come up against. However, one thing that I think was a bit odd, it felt very Moffat-y rather than Russell-y. And that was the scene with the police officer when he pokes his head back out the TARDIS with his sonic screwdriver thing, and he's like, you've got a diamond ring, she's gonna say yes because of XYZ. It felt very, very Sherlockian, very, this officer has been deduced. Which, Doctor Who, Sherlock Holmes, there's always kind of been those similarities, those parallels that people can draw. I mean, hell, didn't Tom Baker wear the old deerstalker back in the day anyway? Or was that because he played Sherlock Holmes? I can't remember. I think it might be both. But this whole scene to make 15 look clever, fair enough, you want to show off your new Doctor, really throw some, fancy stuff into the mix, but it was all instigated because the Sonic went ding, and it's like, okay, fair enough, but also, A, we don't like seeing the Sonic being used for, anything apart from opening doors and being used as a flashlight, fair enough. But also, this whole kind of look at how clever the 15th Doctor is has kind of been undone by the fact that it only really clicked for him because the screwdriver went ding. Maybe that's like a tiny little, teeny tiny little, nitpick, but still. And finally on this, at least what my notes say, the Doctor's theme, the new 15th Doctor's theme, I just absolutely love it. I think in terms of Doctor's themes before, I've been wanting to make a video about this, I should add this to my list of things to do, but the Doctor's themes over the course of especially the Murray, everything was the Murray Gold era until Jodie came along, is that the Doctor's themes felt very, very overused and they never really felt all that fitting. I mean, Capaldi's theme was pretty good when things were starting to ramp up. The I Am the Doctor, Matt Smith's theme, arguably probably the most famous Doctor theme there is, just got so overused. I hated hearing it eventually. I really, really did. This theme, 15's, just the peril that's in there. There is this whimsicality, but there's the little trill of whatever instrument it is. It goes dun 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 like that. Just I love that. And when that's kicking in, either when the Doctor's doing something really majestic and really, really positive, or when there's something like negative happening, he's in peril, there is this brooding whatever going on, this theme just works. I think it might be Murray Gold's best Doctor theme. And I love the 9th and 10th Doctor's themes. Obviously I do. But 15's theme is amazing. One thing that I don't think was that amazing, and that's really just how Christmassy this episode was. Now I will say, and this is more of a kind of a wrap-up comment, is that Christmas specials, I always feel, they have a lot more leeway to do some dumbass stuff. Like, if they do something silly, which we'll kind of get to, then, if it were a normal episode of Doctor Who, maybe it'd be open to a bit more criticism. But because it's Christmas, why the hell not? Christmas tree spins like a Beyblade and rips through Rose and Jackie's flat. Sure, whatever, we'll kind of go with it. But the thing is, these episodes, all of the Christmas special episodes that we've had up until Chibnall killed them off for New Year's Day, when everyone's too drunk to care, or hungover to care, I should say, they always lent into Christmas. And really the only link we have is that obviously we have Ruby Sunday was found and her birthday is on Christmas Eve. And then we had a few Christmas songs and a few references to Christmas, but otherwise it didn't feel quite Christmassy enough in my eyes. And literally, like the tiniest little nitpick, it's really nothing serious. Something that is a little bit more serious, at least in my mind, were the Goblins. Having this big floating ship, the ladder scene, the Doctor being like, oh, I just think I'll jump on this, will I, babes? Brilliant. Loved it. It immediately throws into a vibe of this is what this new Doctor's like. Like he's very, very down to earth. He kind of acts how he looks, I guess. But the Goblins as an enemy, as a threat, it's not so much that they didn't feel realised, because they were realised. It was more that the way that they were communicated by the Doctor, I don't quite think it was done well enough. The whole, rope is used as wiring to open up the air vents and so on. Like, fair enough. It's a clever way of doing it. I've always enjoyed it in Doctor Who when they've gone, look, this is how they do technology. It's like what we would do, except they've got, biological bollocks in with the wiring. What episode has got biological wire? Oh, it's like Cybermen, isn't it? basically. That's what I was picturing. But the Doctor kind of explaining this whole, language of luck, the language of this, the coincidence side of things, blah 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 blah. I think there was a grounding as to what the Goblins were supposed to be, what threat they pose, and how they operate. The Weeping Angel sent people back in time and feed on the energy of the life they would have lived if they hadn't have zapped them back in time. Nice and simple. Well, it's not simple, but it's to the point, and it's like, this is how they operate. The Goblins felt like they could have had that kind of here's your synopsis. It's like a sentence of how the Goblins operate, etc, etc, etc. But it wasn't like that. It kept feeling like there was fluff and fuzz around the Goblins as to what exactly they were doing, especially the point when they'd been up to the ship, they've had the song, which we'll get to, and they bring Lulubelle back down, they're all happy, they're all chilling, and then there's that whole sequence when it feels like stuff was happening, but then nothing was happening, and then bada boom, Ruby's gone. Were the Goblins going to come down and wreak havoc on the house? It felt like that until the Doctor said, no, that's not what they're going to do. And it's like, okay, why does it keep getting stormy, and why is the Doctor still looking so scared? And then it kind of just builds up to, I say builds up, it just kind of, churns and chugs and rolls over, and then boom, the timeline changes. It's like the timeline change amidst everything. Absolutely loved that. We all noticed the fridge, didn't we? We all noticed the fridge was empty. But it felt like the Goblins kind of grounding amidst everything just didn't quite feel there. Not because it wasn't unrealised, I think it was realised, it just wasn't communicated well. Not to say that they were a bad threat, I just think they felt hollow as a result. But let's talk about the song. So the Goblin song got revealed, was it early December? And I did watch the clip. I was trying my best to avoid everything else. I'd rather not see clips of episodes going forwards. I'd rather just go in completely blind and watch the whole thing through. And it was like, okay, this is kind of cool. It's kind of camp. It's kind of stupid. I'm here for it. As said, Christmas, I think, gets that wiggle room to kind of push the boat out and do weirder stuff, to, kind of jump the shark a little bit and not go too far, but fair enough. So I enjoyed the song, I'd seen it. And then obviously then the Doctor and Ruby started singing back, and I thought, do you know what? If they turn series 14 into a Phineas and Ferb series where there's a song in every episode, I'm good. They've got the Beatles, they've got Jonathan Groff, man can sing. Ncuti can obviously sing, Millie can obviously sing. I'm not against it. So that was all quite fun. And then the resolution with them deciding to then go back and steal Ruby instead because it's built up enough coincidence to make her important. I think that's how it kind of played out. You'll have to kind of let me know in the comments. I think there's a little bit of... I personally think there's a bit of haziness there. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just the fact that I didn't have that opportunity to just kind of laser focus onto it because it was Christmas Day, my family were about. But it felt like the Goblins could have been given that little bit more concreteness. I don't want to say grounding again because I've said that enough, but they just needed to be that little bit more robust in their sort of, not so much the execution, because that was really well done. The song was great fun, but just the way they were kind of incorporated into not so much into the narrative. While that did still need some work, it felt more like they needed to be solidified into the Whoniverse as a whole. Because they weren't such an unknown, they needed to be a little bit more known. So while I don't think they detract and they were a bad threat, I feel they still could have been better. The Doctor, saves the day, impales the the Goblin King like it's, Tim Messenger or Simon Skinner from Hot Fuzz, which I thought, fair enough, they're going to lean into that. We could all kind of see that someone was going to get impaled by a church spire, and the fact that they did it was like, do you know what? Yeah, okay, cool. He saves the day. He gives Ruby back to the church. He sees the mother leaving, and I thought, is this going to become a recurring thing? Like Mavity? And finally, we come to Mrs. Flood, who is obviously the cranky old neighbour who suddenly sort of changes her tune very, very quickly, because I thought it was quite interesting how she sees the TARDIS disappear and she drops her shopping. And obviously at first we were all going to think, oh, that's because she's just seen a police box disappear. That's hella weird. No, because she knows who the Doctor is. And we get that really super on-the-nose fourth wall break from her as she looks directly down the lens of the camera and says, have you not seen a TARDIS before? Obviously, the internet went absolutely batty trying to work out who she is. You could tell there was something going on with her. You could see that the Doctor I don't know whether the Doctor either recognised her or he just kind of read that she recognised him. Because, I mean, you kind of do know when somebody's looking at you and they recognise you. I mean, hi guy from Aldi who watches my videos, who saw me in Six Fields a couple of months ago. It's weird. People kind of catch your eye and you go, yeah, they know who I am. Maybe the Doctor was the same, or maybe the Doctor knows who Mrs. Flood actually is. My wife, Amy, says that her theory is that it's Ruby, but obviously she's old. Maybe she gets zapped back in time by an angel. I hope not, because the angel should be left alone. Maybe it's just how the story arc ends, or maybe she's somebody else. My mum was saying, is she a former companion? And it's like, well, she didn't play a companion in the past, but maybe she is a companion, but just an older version of them, or somebody we just don't know yet. Who knows? Please leave your theories in the comment section below. So I don't know how well this kind of babble has come across to you. I wanted to get something out because I feel I'd be doing you all a disservice by not doing anything, but I don't have not so much the motivation or the energy or the time to just kind of do what I normally do. I just kind of had to get something out or else you wouldn't get anything at all. So I hope that there's some parts of this that are cohesive. Future Rich will know when he puts this together in the edit to see if it actually kind of comes together well. But all in all, I did enjoy The Church on Ruby Road. The Doctor, obviously 15, absolutely flipping amazing. I'm so excited to see what else comes of him and whatever else he wears, because damn, the man can dress. Millie Gibson is Ruby Sunday. I love Ruby already. I think she's this really grounded, very, very natural feeling companion that doesn't have any kind of like, obviously she's got the baggage of the fact that she was adopted, but she loves her mother, her adopted mother. Obviously she was quite sad about the fact that she didn't get any information about who her parents were for realsies, but at the same time she's like, that's not my life. This is my life now. And she doesn't kind of carry that baggage with her. She's super down to earth. She's super, super sound. I'm really excited to see what scrape she gets into and kind of how she reacts. There's almost this unknown element of when she's put into a situation of peril or whatever she might end up up against in series 14, how she's going to react. And I'm super keen to see how that's going to play out. Production, obviously, on the whole thing, absolutely fantastic. Please change the title sequence for series 14, please. And all in all, I'm just, Russell has already proven himself that he can still write Doctor Who. He can still, do that show, even with everything he's done in the meantime. He's improved, he's finessed his work, and it feels like going forwards, we are in very, very safe hands. I am super, super excited come May, because that's apparently when Doctor Who's coming back, that we're going to get supposedly eight solid-ass episodes, and I'm super, super excited to see what comes of it. So all in all, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. Predominantly because everything I thought was really, really fun. It was really, really good. There were the little gripes of things like, the title sequence still isn't great. It didn't really feel all that Christmassy, all things considered. But predominantly the fact the Goblins, while they were a good villain to some extent, they didn't feel like they were kind of explained well enough. They were left a little bit fuzzy. Maybe I just need to go back and really pick through all of that dialogue again, but it just, on that first watch, which is usually how I do these, it's not so much a gut reaction because I get time to think about what I've seen, but even kind of looking through the episode again today, it's like I still feel that they weren't given that proper, like, here's your concrete treatment of what these things are and how they operate. I think that was still kind of left up in the air. We take the Doctor for granted and the things that he can do. I mean, hell, he just started singing and just absolutely kicked ass doing so. We can take the Doctor for granted at times. The villains, perhaps not so much. Maybe we needed just that little bit, it's not even a little bit more, just that little bit less to just kind of go, right, this is what they are, this is how they work, we're gonna fuck them up. But we kind of got a bit more fluff than that. Oh well, 7.5. But what did you think of The Church on Ruby Road? Please let me know in the comment section down below. And I apologise, this video is very, very wildly different to what you would normally get. This is very much just a stream of consciousness straight down the lens of the camera because that's all I can really muster right now. Come series 14, it's going to be back in the standard, I'm going to be, you're going to be over there looking this way at me reading a script rather than just ad-libbing into the camera. But if you enjoyed this, and I do have a lot of videos on the way, please do hit subscribe if you haven't already. Lots and lots of scripts that are actually going to be delivered properly will be coming between now and May. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. And as said at the start, Escaping Castebras will be coming back next year with the Sontaran Stratagem and the Poison Sky to kick things off. But before I see you again, have a wonderful new year. Don't get too drunk because I think most of us are going back on January the 2nd. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Until then, take care of yourselves, have a happy new year, and I'll see you soon.